What was the dumbest thing you got punished for at school? Two kids got into a fist fight and I was given a detention because I was in close proximity to them when the fight started. They even told the teacher I had nothing to do with it. But she didn't listen. I've always referred to it as the proximity detention. She made a mistake that resulted in me failing a test. Then she accused me of trying to cheat and lie to her. And punished me for it. When you're an adult and this happens to you, it's no big deal, it's just another asshole you have to deal with. But it's very different when you're a child that trusts and respects authority. For turning in my project by myself. My teacher said it was unfair to others. Even though she was aware that I did the project by myself. And the cherry on the top? Her son was in my group as well and he did absolutely nothing at all. I failed a project because of that once. Did it all by myself. Told the teacher I did it alone and she said it was fine since she'd put me with the slackers. Day came to present. And I got penalized 80/100 points for not working with the other kids. They got full credit and didn't even have a presentation. They went to the front of the class and straight up said they didn't do anything and didn't care if they failed. Asked the teacher why she did that afterwards and she denied ever letting me work alone. Back in middle I never got in trouble. Except for this one time when I got my work done faster than everyone else. So I got sent to detention because the teacher thought I wasn't doing anything. The funny thing is when I arrived, even the administrator watching the detention students had a shocked look on their face because they would have never expected me in there. They ended up just telling me to go back to class 30 minutes later. Trading Pokemon cards in 8th grade. It was considered gang activity. Any group that had 5 or more people was considered a gang and banned. School was dumb. A girl who said I looked at her also for too long walked up and punched me in the face on my first day at a new school before the bell even rang for first period. The principal observed this and decided I had to have provoked her beforehand. So she gave us both detention. I showed up. The other girl didn't. I got in trouble for not showing up. It turned out that the name of the girl who punched me and my name were incredibly similar. Same first name. Most of the same letters of the last name. So when the person doing detention saw the names, she marked the wrong one off. No amount of my arguing that I had really been there did any good until I persuaded the principal to speak to the person who marks names off and ask her which race the person was who had shown up. Only then did I get credit for it. But from then on the principal called me a troublemaker because I had pushed back at her authority. String cheese. Amazingly, my kindergarten teacher never knew about this incredibly common food. So she kept me in for recess because I was playing with my string cheese. Someone sneezed and I said bless you. Disrupting class 1 hour detention. I got detention because I dropped a kumquat on the floor and my friend ate it. She then told a teacher, in tears, that we forced it down her throat. Lol. I have a similar story to this. Once, I tapped a girl's foot in 3rd grade. At the end of recess, I was pulled aside by my teacher who then said, "Why did you kick Patty today?" At first, I had no idea what she was talking about, so I said, "I never kicked Patty." Patty then comes in sobbing claiming that I kicked her. Definitely one of the most traumatizing events from my childhood. If Patty is out there, you suck. A teacher once told me I looked at her funny in elementary school and my parents got a phone call saying that I had been rude to a teacher. I still, at 31 years old, have no idea what the FCK I did to piss this teacher off. Untucked my shirt after school was over. I got suspended for not coming to school. Like duh. I sharpened my pencil at the same time as somebody else. What were you thinking? You're lucky that you're still alive. Sharpened a crayon and a pencil sharpener in 1st grade. Lost recess and the principal called my mom. Mom was not amused. Yelled at the principal for interrupting her workday for a minor offense. Said that sharpening a crayon was hardly the first step towards juvenile delinquency. Sharpens crayon, this kid has a horrible life ahead of them. I got in trouble for my sparkly hair clips. Was like 8 years old. Had bangs cut. The way I walked to my chair. Teacher told me to walk correctly and I told her I was. Then I stuck my tongue out. I was in kindergarten. She turned my chair to the wall. Then I got in trouble again when she told me to turn back around and I said I'd rather look at the wall. Then I got in trouble again when she told me to turn back around and I said I'd rather look at the wall. I'd laugh my ass off at the teacher who was delivered this one-liner. When I was 5 at a public Christian school, some random ass 5th grade girl just decided to sock me in the gut for some reason. I told the recess duty and she deadass yelled at me for interrupting her quiet time and made me sit for the rest of recess. Was fighting back against people who were beating the shit out of me. In 1st grade, I used to finish a lot of the in-class math work well ahead of everyone else. And my teacher's response would be to put me in the class closet so I would not bother the other students. This went on for about 6 months before I told my parents. At which point the teacher was promptly fired. I didn't understand it wasn't normal at the time. The entire grade, 60 of us, got punished because 2 or 3 boys had been running down the street on our way back to school from an excursion, ringing random doorbells. We were all forced to stay after school for half an hour. Collective punishment. Illegal under the Geneva Convention. I tried to argue that in my high school. However, they maintained that we were not enemy combatants, and thus had fewer rights. During the geography lesson I said that the river Nile is a river. My techer said that I'm wrong and it is delta. I argued back and asked that if Nile is just a delta, then what is the actual river called then? The teacher wouldn't answer and I kept insisting that she tells me what the river is named then. After a few minutes of arguing back and forth, she removed me from the class and gave me 3 hours of detention for contemptuous behavior. Reason for detention: trying to get my backpack back. Hit a kid back who pounded on me. 3-day in school suspension. I so just wanna distance learn. I learned to read at 4 from my babysitter. So in kindergarten, we had an activity book and there was a teddy bear to draw. The teacher told us to color it blue, but it was written to color it yellow in the book. So I did yellow. I got scolded for knowing how to read. A guy in my chemistry class was making fun of people reading. He said books were stupid. I said, well, that's fair if the only thing you've read was The Pokey Little Puppy. Got pulled into the assistant principal's office the next day. I was told that just because you think something doesn't mean you have to say it. I still wonder how that comment escalated so fast. It was probably either the time 7-year-old me got told off for making fun of God for trying to explain what Pastafarianism was, or the time I brought in a cricket ball. My uncle is Pastafarian, but nobody had quite explained to me that that entire religion is meant as a joke satire of sorts, so I seriously thought he believed in a flying wad of spaghetti, and understandably the religion class teacher thought I was taking the mickey out on him. My family were already on dodgy terms with him because we were atheists going to a Catholic school. The cricket ball one is plain stupid though. I'm an Australian living abroad. One day I bring in a cricket set that has a cricket ball that looks like a red tennis ball but very heavy. Teacher then took away my ball and I got in trouble because someone could mistake this for a tennis ball and get seriously hurt. Never mind the oversized solid wood cricket bat I had. Being left-handed. Having a penis. Some weirdo left a horror in the boys' room. Their solution was to keep every boy inside at every recess until someone confessed. The girls were not subjected to this because while the perpetrator was obviously capable of crimes against man and nature, surely they obeyed the bathroom signs. Got detention for FN being the first one done with a math test. My teacher said that I shouldn't show off like that. WTF. In first grade I said son of a gun and my teacher swore I said son of a BTCH. So I was written an infraction to be signed by my parents. Edit. BTCH wasn't even in my vocabulary back then. telling a classmate that the tooth fairy isn't real. Recess supervisor yelled at me to leave her alone because nobody likes a tattletale. I was 8 years old and had went to her for help because some bullies who'd been tormenting me for most of the year had seriously hurt me. 20 years later my spine is still having problems from those little jerks. Culminated with the principal bringing me in and trying to expel me for the bullying. I hadn't even fought back. Just ran. I was slightly too far from the trash can. So I leaned out of my desk and tossed a scrap of paper about 6 inches into the trash. My 6th grade teacher stopped class to admonish me for throwing things around the room. And made me crawl on my hands and knees to pick up every piece of trash on the floor. I told my parents she just hates children. They told me I was crazy. But after they came home from parent-teacher night, my mom said, "Holy shit. You were right. She really just hates children. Woman had issues and did not belong in a classroom." Was wearing a red shirt. Reminds me of my HS's very brief no crazy hair color rule that included red and black. Watching grown adults debate over the authenticity of natural red hair was extremely depressing. Also, one kid with natural jet black hair got in trouble first for his natural hair and then a second time for bleaching it white in retaliation. Lol, we had the dumbest rules. Having a skirt that was too short when it was literally touching my knee. A friend and I played Star Wars with the tools for the blackboard. We were 17 years old at the time. Edit. A friend of mine got in trouble for clapping. Allegedly. He clapped exactly once. Which obviously means sarcasm and that obviously means he was making fun of the teacher. Semicolon. Funniest part? Nobody clapped. Teacher heard a noise. Assumed it was a clap. Assumed the last student to get into class was the one who clapped. Assumed it mean making fun of her. And then sent the dude right to the principal's office. Semicolon. She left the class and says after none of us would take her authority seriously anymore. All the teachers were on her side telling us we did something horrible by making fun of her. And even the principal told us so at one point. Semicolon. That day I lost respect for the school system and asked the teacher where I could buy a diploma like hers. I was suspended. I got a demerit for not responding after the teacher called me the wrong name. I got a detention for laughing. We were lined up waiting for the teacher to go into class. Teacher walks up, stops, grabs me and says detention after school and wrote up a detention slip. I asked why and he said class disruption. I said you weren't here and we weren't in class. Dot. People said I was racist for telling an Asian kid he had the personality of a spaghettio and I got a write up. That's a compliment. Not an insult. Spaghettios are fun, interesting, and kind. That's a better personality than a lot of people I know. I had to write a report on Native Americans in 4th grade. We were never taught about plagiarism so I copied some sentences from websites. I got in trouble, understandable, but was given the chance to redo it. I went home and rewrote most of the paper, including each copied sentence and didn't use the internet at all. I take it back to the teacher the next day. She keeps me in for recess and explains that I still plagiarized because I had a word-for-word sentence in my report from this website she found. I had never used that website she showed me. I tried to explain but she gave me a 0 on the report and I had to stay inside for recess, which hurt my little 4th grade heart. I still get pissed off thinking about this. In grade 9 I got detention for needing to use the bathroom more than 3 times in one semester for one class. I'm a girl and girls need to use the washroom a lot at certain times, so this rule was completely useless and stupid. I am a diabetic. I was punished for having low blood sugars in class. It was always the same teacher that would have a fit over it. He claimed I did this intentionally to get out of work. Yeah hun, see how fun it is feeling like your heart is gonna rip through your guts as you black out. Sneezing. Okay. So I do have a loud sneeze. Full stop. Full stop. One of my friends got told off for putting some scissors away. safely. After we were told to pack away our stuff. One of my history teachers at school put me in the middle of two childish troublemakers on a 3-person desk and they used to fight over me. All because I was the quiet one in the class. When I look back, I was partly punished by her for being shy and quiet. Got a detention slip in high school because I was wearing a sweatshirt with the logo of the school on it, but it was too big of a logo. This is a Catholic high school and apparently the rule is that the logo needs to be small and on the corner of the shirt, which there wasn't a lot of school apparel like that anyway. I showed the dean of students this because I've never gotten in trouble before. And he pretty much let me volunteer at some school function in order for me not to serve it. I corrected the student teacher's pronunciation of a German word during a history class. He threatened to give me a referral and send me to the principal. All from the same teacher, by the way. For biting a pencil. For looking at her funny, and she separated a friend group of mine for no reason whatsoever. Basically, she was always on my case about something small or obscure that makes no sense for punishing me for. For the first few years of elementary school, I went to a Catholic private school. One day during religion class, little 6-year-old me was bored out of her mind and decided to look at the decorations on the ceiling. The teacher then proceeded to yell at me for rolling my eyes. I told my friend to stop being a dick because I wanted to listen to the teacher. I got kicked out and a note in my planner for swearing. Someone threw a desk at the teacher, didn't hit him, and I told him to relax. I got sent to the office, not the kid who threw it. Alright. But to be fair, who would you rather possibly anger? The talker or someone that's already shown they'll throw a whole ass desk at you? I got in trouble for having long hair. At a Catholic school. When I was in 3rd grade. It was bathroom time and my friend lit a box on fire. The box was placed over the toilet seat to say it was out of order. But I got in trouble because I didn't stop my friend because I was on the other toilet taking a number 2 and smelled the fire, but I dropped a load before going to report it to the teacher. I cried because the teacher was yelling at me for not taking it more serious. The only thing on my mind really was that I wasn't going to leave the bathroom with crap all down my pants. Again. For stretching my legs. I am 6, 8 and 15, ask for proof, and my legs are like 2 times taller than the bench, so I can't have them like a normal person. This crazy bitch got wild when I said that I just don't fit. Have paper thrown at me. I got punishment for writing in left hand. I don't know why. She said to write at right hand and I couldn't, so I got to stand outside the class with my arms up till her class time ends. 1. I used to go to a Catholic private school and I was a transfer student. So I didn't have the uniform yet. They also had a strict dress code where you basically can't show skin, so I layered my clothes so I could follow the dress code and I got called to the principal for being too stylish and distracting the students. 2. My friend with super light skin turns red when it's hot and got called out in class for having red cheeks because the school didn't allow makeup. The teacher said my friend probably rubbed crayons on her cheeks. We were in high school. Does Mrs. McAllister know you're moving those chairs into the hallway? Yes. She told me to do it. How dare you refer to a staff member as she? Taking off my jumper, sweater, in summer. But before summer uniform was declared and we were allowed to take off our jumpers, loosen or remove our ties, and not wear tights. I was 11. It was early July. I just jogged across the school grounds so I wasn't late for class. I needed the bathroom. I was very warm. Yet I was expected to sit there and sweat until the headmaster told me I could take off my jumper. You could even get in trouble for taking it off on the bus or walking home. Because apparently you were representing the school and had to follow uniform rules off school grounds. You might say it was preparation for a working environment. But I've not worked in an office before and I'm still pretty sure you don't need to ask your boss before taking off your jacket.